The twin suns of Nova Prime shone bright across the horizon, painting the sky in gold and amber. Mira walked along the edge of the colony fields, her boots pressing into the soft red soil. She had always loved this time of day, when the colony hummed with quiet life and the wind carried the faint scent of growing crops. But today, a strange tension filled the air. Something did not feel right. Mira worked as an engineer in the colony's research center. She spent her days fixing machines, improving systems, and sometimes exploring new areas beyond the settlement. Curiosity had always guided her, and she believed there was always more to discover. Today, her curiosity had drawn her farther than usual, to a stretch of rocky cliffs that overlooked the valley below, as Mira bent down to examine a strange plant that glowed faintly under the suns. Sudden vibration shook the ground. She froze, scanning the horizon. At first, she thought it was a tremor, but then she saw them. Small, sleek ships rising from the distant mountains, their shapes unlike anything she had seen before. The ships moved with incredible speed, and their shadows swept across the cliffs like dark clouds. Her heart pounded. Myra had heard rumors of alien patrols near Nova Prime, but she never imagined she would see one herself. She tried to call the colony on her communicator, but her signal was blocked. Panic rose in her chest. She knew she had to move, but before she could take a step, a beam of blue light shot from one of the ships. It lifted her off the ground and the world spun around her. The last thing she saw was the red soil falling away beneath her feet. When Mira opened her eyes, she found herself in a strange chamber. The walls were made of crystal, glowing softly with colors that shifted and changed. The light was soothing but unnatural, and the air hummed with energy. She tried to move, but a gentle force held her in place. Panic gave way to wonder. She had never seen technology like this. She realized she was on another world. Footsteps echoed through the chamber, smooth and deliberate. Mira turned to see the figures approaching. They were tall, with elongated limbs and skin that shimmered like metal. Their faces were beautiful but alien, with large eyes that seemed to see into her very thoughts. One of them stepped forward, a crown-like structure on her head, her presence commanding attention. "I am Queen Allura," the alien said, her voice melodic and firm. "You are far from your home, human." Mira swallowed hard, trying to steady her voice. I didn't mean to come here. I didn't know." The queen raised a hand, and the force holding Mira eased slightly. "Curiosity brought you here? That is evident. But it is also dangerous. You will remain with us until we understand your purpose." Mira realized that arguing would not help. She nodded, trying to hide the fear in her eyes. She could not yet see a way to escape. She needed to learn more about these aliens if she was to survive. Meanwhile, far across the valley, Kieran paced in the colony control center. He had noticed Mira's absence and the sudden silence from her communicator. Kieran was not just a fellow engineer. He had trained in reconnaissance and survival skills. He sensed danger immediately. Mira was clever and brave, but she was not trained to face beings like those rumored beyond the mountains. Kieran gathered a small team of volunteers, humans who were skilled in technology and stealth. "She wouldn't just disappear," Kieran said, his voice firm. "Something has happened. We have to find her." His team nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. They loaded equipment, checked weapons, and prepared for the journey that could take them far beyond anything they had faced before. Back in the alien chamber, Mira explored cautiously. She could not touch much, as the crystal walls seemed sensitive to her presence. Responding to her touch with gentle vibrations, she noticed patterns in the walls, symbols that shifted like living text. Her mind raced. If she could understand these symbols, she might be able to find a weakness, a way to escape or communicate with someone outside. Queen Allura observed silently. Mira's curiosity reminded her of her own daughter, though she could not speak her name. The human's courage and intelligence were unusual. Most creatures captured by her people would panic or obey. Myra did neither. Instead, she studied, analyzed, and adapted. Allura found herself intrigued. Days passed, though Mira could not be sure how long. The aliens fed her, gave her a place to rest, and occasionally asked questions. They wanted to know about humans, about Nova Prime, about her life. Mira answered carefully, never giving away too much. She noticed the queen watching her the most. Alora's eyes held a mixture of curiosity and something like longing. And Mira realized the queen was more than a ruler, she was a mother. And she saw qualities in Myra that she had not seen in any other human back on Nova Prime. Kieran's team navigated rough terrain, avoiding patrols and using the stars for guidance. They encountered dangerous wildlife, treacherous cliffs, and sudden storms. But nothing could stop Kieran's determination. He remembered Mira's laughter, her ingenuity, and her fearlessness. She was counting on him, and he would not fail. On Zerathia, Mira discovered a control panel hidden in the crystalline walls. It seemed to manage the energy of the tower. Her hands moved over the alien interface, trying to understand it. She realized that if she could manipulate the system, she might be able to create an opening to communicate, or even escape. But the technology was unlike anything she had seen. It was alive in a way, responding to her thoughts, testing her patience and intelligence. Allura watched closely. She sensed that the human might not only survive, but succeed in ways few beings could. A strange feeling stirred inside her. The queen had always been confident, unshakable in her power. Yet Mira's presence challenged her assumptions. Could humans be more than fragile creatures? Could they be strong, clever, and brave in ways her people had never considered? Night came on Zerathia, though it was different from the night on Nova Prime. The twin moons reflected light across the crystal towers, creating a world of colors and reflections. Mira sat quietly, studying the alien sky. She missed her home, but felt a spark of determination. She would not be defeated. If she could survive here, if she could learn from this place, she could find a way back to her people. Kieran's team reached the edge of Zerathia's border. From their vantage point, they could see the glowing towers in the distance, a city alive with light and movement. Kieran's heart raced. He signaled to his team, "Stay quiet. Watch each step. We cannot fail her." The humans moved forward carefully, blending with shadows and using every skill they had learned in training in real life. Back in the chamber, Mira had made a small breakthrough. She discovered that the control panels responded to patterns in thought and movement. By mimicking the way the aliens interacted with the system, she could influence the environment subtly. She began to practice, moving objects slightly, opening doors slightly, always careful not to alert the guards. Allura entered the chamber silently. Mira froze for a moment, but did not panic. "You are different," Allura said softly. "Most creatures would break under pressure. You do not, that is. Unusual." Mira nodded, her voice steady. "I want to understand. I want to survive. I don't mean any harm." The queen studied her, then turned and left without another word. Mira realized that she had earned a measure of respect. It was small, but it was a start. The story of Mira's capture was only beginning. The bond between human courage and alien curiosity had been formed. And soon, forces from two worlds would collide in ways neither side could fully imagine. Myra's determination, Kieran's bravery, and Allura's conflicted heart set the stage for a journey that would test the limits of courage, loyalty, and understanding. As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, Mira looked out of her crystalline window and whispered to herself, "I will get home. I have to get home." Her words carried strength, hope, and the quiet promise that humans could rise, even in the face of the unknown. Kieran's team moved silently through the rocky passes of Nova Prime's outer lands. The terrain was rough and unforgiving, but Kieran's focus never wavered. He led a small group of skilled humans, each trained in survival, technology, and stealth. They carried compact equipment, advanced sensors, and a determination that matched Kieran's own. Every step brought them closer to the border where the alien patrols had been spotted, closer to Myra. The team's path was filled with dangers. Sharp cliffs loomed on either side, and sudden gusts of wind threatened to knock them off balance. The ground was dotted with jagged rocks that could tear through a boot or a tire. Despite this, the humans pressed forward, careful, alert, and ready for anything. Kieran glanced at his team. Each of them trusted him, and he trusted them. He had to. Myra's life depended on it. Back on Zerathia, Myra continued to explore her surroundings. Her room was no longer just a place of captivity. It had become a small laboratory, a place where she could test her understanding of the alien technology. The crystalline walls responded to her movements, humming softly as she worked. Myra realized that even small gestures could influence the system. If she could learn to control it fully, she might find a way to communicate with Kieran, or even create an opening to escape. Myra spent hours studying patterns. The symbols on the walls shifted with the energy in the room. They seemed alive, responding to thought, emotion, and intention. Myra tried to remain calm, focusing her mind as she traced shapes in the air, hoping to trigger changes in the environment. Slowly, small doors clicked open, faint lights pulsed in response to her movements, and she began to understand the rhythm of the system. Queen Allura watched Myra closely from a distance. She had never taken such interest in a human before. The young human's courage, intelligence, and persistence fascinated her. Most beings captured by the Zerath Empire became frightened, obedient, or hopeless. Myra was different. She did not panic. She did not plead for mercy. She observed, learned, and adapted. Allura wondered why this human stirred such feelings in her. It was not fear or admiration, it was something new. Perhaps it was a reminder of her own daughter who had been lost to the galaxy years ago. Perhaps it was a glimpse of what humans could be: clever, brave, and determined. Meanwhile, Kieran's team reached the border of Zerathia. From their vantage point, they could see the sprawling alien cities glowing under the twin moons. Towering, crystalline structures rose like mountains of light. Strange creatures moved among them, glowing and shifting in patterns that seemed both beautiful and dangerous. Kieran's heart tightened. This was Myra's prison, and it was more formidable than he had imagined. He whispered to his team, "We move at night. Keep your sensors on. Watch for patrols. We cannot fail her." The humans nodded, each one aware of the danger and the responsibility they carried. Myra's life depended on their skill, courage, determination. Back in her chamber, Myra had discovered a hidden alcove behind one of the glowing walls. Inside, she found devices she could manipulate. Tiny lights flickered in response to her touch. It was clear that the system was responsive to both movement and thought. Myra realized that, with enough patience and observation, she could influence the tower in ways the aliens had not expected, as she experimented. Myra felt a subtle shift in the room's energy. It was almost as if the tower itself was alive, testing her, responding to her resolve. She focused, controlling her breathing and movements. A hidden panel clicked open, revealing a small tunnel that led deeper into the tower. Myra's pulse quickened. This was a chance away to explore, gather information, and perhaps find a path to freedom. Allura entered the room silently. Myra froze for a moment but did not panic. The queen's eyes were full of curiosity and something softer, almost human. "You are learning quickly," Allura said. "Few creatures could understand our technology in such a short time." Myra bowed slightly, careful not to appear threatening. "I want to survive. I want to understand. I do not mean any harm." Allura studied her, and for the first time, she allowed herself a moment of doubt. Could humans truly be more than fragile creatures? Could they possess courage, cleverness, and determination equal to any Zerath? Myra's actions were answering questions Allura had never asked before. At the same time, Kieran and his team moved closer to the city's edge. Using holographic camouflage and silent propulsion devices, they navigated past patrols and scanning systems. Every step was calculated. Every decision was critical. Kieran led with calm precision, ensuring that no one would trigger alarms or draw attention. Kieran thought of Myra constantly. Her courage, intelligence, and resourcefulness gave him hope. He believed that she could survive even the most difficult challenges, but he also knew that time was running out. If they delayed too long, the aliens would move her, and their chances of rescue would vanish. Inside the alien city, Myra explored the small tunnel she had found. It led to a network of corridors filled with strange devices and lights that pulsed like living veins. She realized that this part of the tower controlled communications, energy flows, and security. If she could learn how to manipulate it, she might create a diversion for Kieran's team. Mira's mind raced. She had to think strategically. Every movement, every gesture, every thought could influence the alien technology. She focused on patterns, testing responses, and observing results. Slowly, she began to feel control over the environment. Small doors opened, lights flickered, and the humming energy shifted according to her will. Alira watched silently from above, hidden by the shadows of the crystalline walls. She felt a mixture of pride and concern. The human was brave, clever, and relentless. But was she prepared for the dangers that lay ahead? Alira wondered whether she should intervene or allow the human to continue. The answer was not simple. She had never faced a situation where the captive was also the teacher. Challenging the assumptions of the queen herself, night fell on Zarithia, casting long shadows across the crystalline towers. Mira sat quietly, observing the city from a high window. She could see patrols moving in patterns, sensors scanning the air, and glowing creatures drifting through the streets. The city was alive, but she felt a spark of hope. She had found a way to influence the system. She had found a way to make her courage matter. Meanwhile, Kieran's team reached a vantage point close to Mira's location. From here, they could see the city's defenses, the patrol routes, and the patterns of the glowing towers. Kieran studied every detail carefully. He whispered, "We wait for the right moment. Mira's courage will guide us. We follow her lead." Myra made a small adjustment in the control system, causing a subtle shift in the lighting of the corridors. A door clicked open in one of the patrol zones. Myra smiled faintly. The aliens had never expected a human to manipulate their systems. Kieran and his team would have a chance. Alira, observing from a distance, felt a strange warmth in her chest. This human was not an enemy in the usual sense. She saw intelligence, determination, and courage that reminded her of her own lost daughter. The thought made her pause. Could humans be worthy allies rather than foes? Could courage and intelligence, not power alone, define strength? The night stretched on, and Mira continued her careful exploration. Every discovery, every observation, and every small success built her confidence. She was learning the ways of the alien tower, and with each step, she prepared for the moment when she could reunite with Kron. In the distance, the sound of quiet engines signaled Kieran's progress. Mira knew the time would soon come when her courage and his skill would combine. Together, they might challenge the unknown, defy the impossible, and prove that humans could stand strong even among the most formidable beings in the galaxy. As the twin moons rose over Zarithia, Mira whispered to herself, "I am ready. I will not fail. I will survive and go home." Her words were quiet, but they carried the power of determination, hope, and courage. In that moment, she was no longer just a captive. She was a strategist, a survivor, and a human who would not give up. The night air of Zarithia shimmered with the glow of the twin moons and the luminous towers that rose like mountains of crystal. Kieran and his team moved silently through the shadows, their eyes scanning the alien city for patrols, sensors, and hidden dangers. Every step was calculated, every breath controlled, and every movement precise. One wrong step could alert the aliens and end the rescue mission before it even began. Kieran led the team with calm authority. His heart was focused on Mira, whose courage and intelligence he trusted completely. He had trained for dangerous missions before, but this was unlike anything he had faced. The alien city was alive with light, sound, and motion, a place where technology and nature merged in ways humans could barely imagine. Yet Kieran refused to hesitate. He whispered instructions to his team, guiding them through narrow alleys, over glowing bridges, and past enormous creatures that moved silently through the city's streets inside her crystalline chamber. Mira observed the city and the humans moving below. She had discovered a hidden ventilation system that connected the towers, corridors, and chambers. By manipulating the energy flow, she could open doors, create shadows, and guide Kieran's team without ever being seen. Her fingers traced patterns in the alien control panels, and lights responded to her touch. The city seemed to breathe with her movements, reacting to her courage and intelligence. The first challenge came when a patrol of alien guards appeared near the corridor Mira had planned for Kieran's entry. They moved with perfect synchronization, their glowing eyes scanning for anything unusual. Mira held her breath, adjusting the lighting in the corridor. The patrol's sensors flickered as if confused, and the guards paused, uncertain. Mira's control of the system was small but precise. The corridor cleared, and Kieran's team advanced, unaware of how close danger had been. "Keep moving," Kieran whispered, his voice steady but tense. "Watch the shadows and trust the path." His team nodded, following his lead. They had trained for stealth, for combat, and for survival, but nothing could prepare them for the beauty and danger of Zerethia. The city glowed with living energy, and its citizens, the Zereth, moved with grace and strength that reminded Kieran of warriors from old. Human legends Mira guided them through a series of tunnels, using the alien system to manipulate lights and doors. Every step brought them closer, but also deeper into the city's heart. Where the towers held secrets, energy nodes, and powerful defenses, Mira's mind worked quickly, anticipating the patrols, predicting the energy shifts, and using every advantage she could. Queen Allura sensed the movement in her city. She had never expected humans to navigate Zerathia so cleverly. A mixture of curiosity and concern filled her. Mira had the intelligence and courage to guide the humans without detection. And the queen realized that the humans' bravery was matched by her loyalty. Allura wondered what would happen if she intervened. Could she trust the humans, or would she risk the security of her empire? Kieran's team reached a junction in the tunnels where the path split in multiple directions. He paused, studying the map Mira had helped him visualize through small energy pulses and shadows. "This way," he said, choosing the path that led closer to Mira's chamber. Every step was a balance between speed and caution. One misstep could alert the guards, and one wrong turn could trap them. Meanwhile, Mira discovered another obstacle, a security field that pulsed with energy, blocking the corridor ahead. It reacted to movement, thought, and sound. Mira concentrated, recalling the patterns she had observed. Slowly, she manipulated the energy through the control panel, creating a small window just large enough for Kieran's team to pass. The pulse shifted, the corridor opened, and the humans moved through. Unaware of the intricate control that guided them, Kieran paused at the entrance to the corridor, sensing something unusual. "Stay alert," he whispered. His instincts told him that danger was close. The corridor was narrow, and the glowing walls made shadows dance unpredictably. He led the team forward, moving silently and watching every corner. Inside her chamber, Mira felt a strange excitement. This was the first time she had actively guided the humans through the city. She was no longer a captive. She was a strategist, using her courage and intelligence to influence events beyond her immediate surroundings. Every successful step strengthened her resolve. Suddenly, one of the patrols appeared ahead. Kieran froze, signaling his team to stop. The Zereth moved with perfect precision, scanning the area for intruders. Kieran's heart pounded, but he remained calm. He studied their patterns, noticing a small gap in their coordination. "Move on my mark," he whispered. The team followed his lead, slipping through the shadows and passing undetected. Mira adjusted the lights in the corridor, creating just enough distraction to ensure their passage. The team continued deeper into the city. Moving closer to Mira's chamber, they passed towering energy nodes that pulsed like hearts, glowing corridors filled with floating creatures, and observation towers where Zereth soldiers kept watch. Every step was dangerous, but the humans pressed on, driven by determination, courage, and loyalty. Mira prepared for the final stretch. She opened a small chamber door that led directly to her location. The corridor was narrow, but it was safe for a short time. She could hear Kieran's team moving carefully, their whispers faint but steady. Her heart raced with anticipation. This was the moment they had been working toward. Queen Allura watched from a distance, her heart heavy with emotion. The humans had navigated her city with skill and courage, guided by a human who had been taken against her will. She saw the determination in Kieran's team, the loyalty in their actions, and the bravery in Mira's strategy. Something stirred inside the queen, a recognition of strength, intelligence, and courage that transcended species. Finally, Kieran's team reached the chamber entrance. Mira stepped out from her hiding place, signaling them forward. The team's eyes widened with relief and awe. Myra's courage had guided them through the city, and her intelligence had ensured that every step was calculated and safe. "Kieran," Mira whispered, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "We made it this far. There is still danger ahead, but we can do this together." Kieran smiled faintly, a mix of relief and admiration in his eyes. "You've been amazing, Mira. Your courage and intelligence saved us all. Now we finish this mission and get you home." The team moved together, navigating the final corridors toward freedom. Myra's knowledge of the alien systems allowed them to bypass guards, avoid energy fields, and pass through tunnels that seemed impossible to navigate. Every moment was tense, every movement critical. But their courage never faltered. As they approached the outer towers, they encountered a large patrol. This time, there was no room for subtlety. Kieran signaled, and the team worked together with precision. They used shadows, distractions, and careful timing to slip past the guards. Mira manipulated the energy in the walls, creating a path that allowed the humans to pass safely. Queen Allura watched quietly. She felt a mixture of admiration and sorrow. The humans' courage was undeniable. The humans' loyalty and bravery had impressed her beyond expectation. She had never seen beings act with such intelligence, courage, and determination. Mira had earned her respect, and in that moment, Allura realized that strength was not only measured by power, but also by courage, intelligence, and heart. Finally, Kieran's team reached the edge of the city, where the glowing towers met the natural cliffs of Zerathia. The escape route Mira had prepared led to a hidden canyon, a natural path that would allow them to leave the city undetected. Mira guided them carefully, ensuring that every movement avoided sensors and patrols. The humans moved quickly, but silently through the canyon. The light from the towers faded behind them, replaced by the natural glow of Zerathia's moons. Every step brought them closer to freedom, closer to home, and closer to safety. Myra's heart swelled with hope. Her courage, intelligence, and determination had carried them this far. As they reached the edge of the canyon, Kieran turned to Myra. "You did this? Your courage and intelligence guided us. You are the reason we made it this far." Amira nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and pride. She had survived, adapted, and guided the humans through one of the most dangerous cities in the galaxy. The group paused to catch their breath. Looking back at the glowing towers of Zerathia, the city was beautiful, powerful, and alive with energy. Mira felt a strange admiration for the world she had been trapped in, even as she longed for home. Queen Allura's presence lingered in her thoughts, a ruler who had begun to see humans as more than fragile creatures. The next steps would be even more dangerous. But Mira, Kieran, and the team were ready. They had proven that courage, intelligence, and determination could overcome even the most daunting obstacles. Humans could stand strong, adapt, and survive. Even in a world that seemed impossible to conquer, Mira whispered to herself, "We are not weak. We are brave. We are human." Her words carried strength, hope, and the promise of survival. With Kieran by her side and the courage of her heart guiding her, she was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The group moved on, deeper into the wilderness, toward freedom and the chance to return to Nova Prime. The journey was far from over. The wind of Zerathia's hidden canyon brushed against Mira's face as she and Kieran's team moved cautiously. The glowing towers of the city were far behind them, yet Mira knew they were not entirely safe. Patrols could still appear, and sensors could still detect them. Every step required focus, and every movement had to be precise. But despite the tension, Mira felt a strange calm. She had guided the humans, navigated the alien city, and survived dangers that would have overwhelmed most. Her courage had brought them this far. Kieran noticed her determination and smiled faintly. "We are almost there," he whispered. "You've been incredible, Mira. I don't know how we would have done this without you. Mira nodded, feeling a mix of pride and relief. We need to keep moving. Freedom is close, but we cannot let our guard down. The canyon widened, revealing a natural bridge over a deep, glowing chasm. Mira's heart quickened. She had studied this path in the city's control system and knew it led to an area that was largely unmonitored. If they could cross safely, they would be outside the main patrol routes and closer to the waiting ships. As they began to cross, a sudden shadow fell over them. A patrol of Zereth soldiers appeared, their luminous eyes scanning for intruders. Kieran raised his hand, signaling the team to freeze. Myra's mind raced. She had anticipated this possibility. Using the energy manipulation techniques she had learned, she adjusted the lighting of the canyon, creating shadows and flickers that confused the patrol. The soldiers paused, uncertain. Kieran's team seized the moment, moving silently and quickly across the bridge. Myra's careful planning and quick thinking ensured they passed without detection. The patrol finally moved on, leaving the humans and Myra unharmed. Finally, they reached the hidden grove, where the canyon opened to a natural landing zone. The air was fresh, the glow of alien moons lighting the path. Mira felt a sense of relief and accomplishment. They had survived the city, navigated dangerous terrain, and outsmarted the alien patrols. But there was one final challenge remaining, facing Queen Allura herself. Allura had observed everything. From her towers, she had seen Mira's courage, Kieran's loyalty, and the humans' determination. She had never expected a human to navigate her city with such skill. Her heart was conflicted. On one hand, Mira was a captive, and the laws of her empire demanded punishment or control. On the other hand, Mira had shown qualities that the Zereth had rarely witnessed: intelligence, courage, and heart. Allura decided to meet Mira personally. She appeared at the edge of the grove, her presence radiant and commanding. Her crown of crystal and metal caught the light of the moons, reflecting 1,000 colors across the grove. The humans froze, unsure whether she would attack or speak. Mira stepped forward cautiously. "Queen Allura," she said, her voice steady but respectful, "I do not wish to fight. I only want to return home." Allura's eyes softened as she looked at Mira. "I have watched you. You are not like other humans. Your courage, intelligence, and determination are remarkable. You have guided your companions through dangers I believed impossible to overcome." Kieran moved slightly forward, placing himself protectively beside Mira. "Your Majesty," he said respectfully, "we did not come to challenge you. We only wish to bring Mira back safely. She is our friend, and her life depends on this." Allura studied the humans for a long moment. She had never encountered beings who acted with such loyalty and bravery. She felt a connection she could not explain. Mira reminded her of her own lost daughter, the way Mira's courage shone, the way she protected those she cared for, and the way she faced impossible odds without fear. Tears welled in Allura's eyes. She had not cried openly in many years, yet here, in the quiet grove under the alien moons, she felt emotion she had thought lost. "I see now," Allura said softly. "Humans are stronger than I believed. You possess qualities that even my people rarely show. Mira, you have my respect." Mira felt a surge of emotion. The Queen's words were more powerful than any weapon, more meaningful than any negotiation. They were recognition of her courage and heart. "Thank you, Your Majesty," Mira said quietly. "All I wanted was to survive and return home. I mean no harm to you or your people." Allura nodded, the tears slipping down her cheeks. "I believe you, Mira, and I am proud of what you have accomplished. You have earned your freedom not just by survival, but by courage and wisdom." The grove seemed to glow brighter, as if the alien world itself acknowledged this moment of understanding. Kieran looked at Mira, his expression filled with admiration. He had always believed in her strength, but seeing the Queen recognize it as well was humbling. Allura stepped closer to Mira, her voice soft but firm. "You remind me of what is possible. Courage, loyalty, and intelligence can overcome even the most daunting obstacles. You have shown me that strength is not only measured by power, but by heart." Mira nodded, feeling a warmth in her chest. I will not forget this, Your Majesty, and I hope one day humans and Zeroth can learn from each other. The Queen's gaze softened further. Perhaps that is the beginning of something new. For now, go. Return to your people, human. You have proven that your courage and determination are worthy of respect. Kieran stepped forward, placing a reassuring hand on Mira's shoulder. We have what we came for, he said. Let's go home. Mira looked back at Allura, feeling a mix of sadness and gratitude. The Queen had been her captor, yet she had also shown understanding and respect. This moment was a bridge between worlds, a sign that courage and heart could transcend fear and misunderstanding. As they prepared to leave the grove, Allura spoke one final time. Remember, human, the galaxy is larger than you know. There is much to learn and much to protect. Your courage is a beacon for your people and a reminder for mine. Mira felt the weight of those words. She had survived, she had proven her courage, and she had earned respect across species. The experience had changed her, made her stronger, and shown her the importance of intelligence, loyalty, and heart. The group moved toward the waiting ships hidden at the edge of the grove. The moonlight reflected off Mira's determined face. She knew that returning home was not just about safety. It was about carrying the lessons she had learned and the strength she had discovered. Kieran guided the team onto the ships, checking each system and ensuring a safe departure. Mira climbed aboard, her mind still processing the encounter with Queen Allura. The Queen's tears, eyes, her words, and her recognition of human courage left a lasting impression. Myra realized that humans had not only survived, they had proven that their determination and intelligence could rival even the most powerful alien civilizations. The ships lifted off quietly, moving through the canyon and away from the glowing towers of Zerathia. Mira watched the alien world fade behind her, its beauty, danger, and lessons etched into her memory. She felt pride, relief, and a renewed sense of purpose. Kieran glanced at Mira, a faint smile on his face. You did it, Mira. You led us here, and now we leave with success. Your courage is extraordinary, Mira nodded, feeling the weight of her journey. It wasn't just me, she said. It was all of us, working together. Courage and loyalty brought us this far. That is what matters. As the ships moved toward the safety of space, Mira thought of the lessons she had learned. Intelligence, courage, and heart could overcome even the greatest challenges. Respect and understanding could bridge worlds. Humans could be brave, clever, and unbroken, even in the face of seemingly impossible odds. Queen Allura watched the departing ships from her tower, tears still glistening in her eyes. She had witnessed something extraordinary, a human whose courage, intelligence, and heart had earned respect, not through power, but through determination and loyalty. The experience left her with hope that humans in Zerath could one day learn from each other. That courage and heart could define strength across the galaxy. Mira felt a sense of peace as the stars of Zerathia disappeared behind them. She had survived the impossible, guided her friends through danger, and earned the respect of a queen. Yet she knew this was only the beginning. Her journey home was a promise of hope, a symbol of courage, and a reminder that humans could rise above any challenge. As the ships sped through the galaxy, Mira whispered to herself, "We are brave, we are clever, and we are human. Nothing can take that away." The light of the distant moons faded, but the courage, determination, and heart that Mira had discovered within herself and her friends would shine forever. The galaxy had witnessed the power of human spirit. A bond had been formed, a bridge between worlds that would not be forgotten. The ships carrying Mira, Kieran, and the rescue team moved swiftly through the quiet expanse of space. Nova Prime, their home, glimmered in the distance like a jewel suspended among stars. Myra's heart raced with anticipation. She had survived unimaginable dangers, guided her friends through alien cities, and earned the respect of Queen Allura herself. Now, the thought of home filled her with hope and determination. Kieran sat beside her, checking the ship's systems and ensuring they were on course. "We're almost there," he said quietly. "Nova Prime will be waiting." Myra nodded, her thoughts drifting to the colony she had left behind, the people she cared for, the friends who had supported her, and the life she had fought to protect. Every lesson she had learned on Zerathia, the courage, the strategy, the determination would help them all. The journey back was not easy. The ships had to navigate through asteroid fields, avoid remnants of alien patrols, and maintain strict energy efficiency to prevent detection. Kieran and his team worked tirelessly, their focus unwavering. Mira assisted when she could, using her knowledge of alien technology to optimize the ship's systems. Together, they overcame each challenge with ingenuity, teamwork, and courage as they approached Nova Prime. Mira thought of Queen Allura. The alien queen had seen humans in ways no one else had. She had recognized intelligence, courage, and loyalty, and in doing so, had begun to question the assumptions of her own people. Mira felt a deep respect for Allura, understanding that even beings of immense power could be moved by courage and heart. The first sight of Nova Prime filled Mira with relief. The colony lay peaceful beneath twin suns, its fields vibrant, and the structures reflecting the light in warm shades of gold and red. Scouts had detected the approaching ships, and alarms sounded to prepare the colony for their return. Myra's friends and family rushed to the landing site. Cheering as the ships touched down safely, Kieran guided the team out first. Ensuring all systems were secure, then helped Mira step onto the familiar soil of her home. Her knees bent slightly as she took the first steps, her emotions overwhelming her. Relief, joy, and pride mingled, a testament to the journey she had survived. She looked around at the smiling faces and felt the warmth of community and friendship. The colony gathered around, eager to hear about the rescue. Mira shared what she could, carefully omitting sensitive details about the alien empire, but emphasizing the lessons learned. Humans were clever, courageous, and capable of more than anyone had imagined. Her story inspired hope, courage, and unity. The colony understood that survival was not just about strength, but about intelligence, strategy, and heart. Kieran stood beside Mira, quietly observing the reactions of the colony. He had always known her courage, but seeing others recognize it as well gave him a quiet satisfaction. Together, they had faced impossible odds and prevailed. The human spirit had proven resilient, intelligent, and brave. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Queen Allura returned to her palace. The events of the past weeks weighed heavily on her. Myra had demonstrated qualities that few Zereth had ever seen. Courage, intelligence, and loyalty had combined in a single human, challenging her beliefs and reshaping her understanding of strength. Allura decided that her empire needed change. If humans could rise and survive against impossible odds, perhaps her people could also learn to respect and understand others. Allura began reaching out in secret, sending messages of goodwill to Mira and the colony. The humans' bravery had earned her trust and respect, and she hoped to build a bridge between Zerathia and Nova Prime. The Queen realized that alliances were stronger when built on courage, intelligence, and mutual understanding rather than fear and domination. Back on Nova Prime, Mira and Kieran worked with the colony to strengthen their defenses and improve technology. Mira's knowledge of Zereth systems provided insights into new energy sources, communication methods, and defense strategies. The humans adapted quickly, showing that courage and intelligence could turn even the greatest challenges into opportunities for growth. The colony began training programs to teach young humans the skills Myra had used: observation, strategy, quick thinking, and problem solving. Every person who learned these skills contributed to the resilience and strength of the community. Humans were no longer merely survivors. They were innovators, thinkers, and defenders of their home. Mira and Kieran also focused on diplomacy. They maintained the secret connection with Queen Allura, sharing insights and fostering understanding. Over time, small exchanges of knowledge and resources took place, slowly building trust between two very different species. Humans learned from Zeroth technology, and Zeroth learned from human courage and adaptability. The bond between the two worlds became a symbol of hope. Mira's courage had created ripples across the galaxy, proving that intelligence and heart were were as powerful as strength and weapons. Kieran often reminded Mira, "We didn't just survive. We changed how the world see each other. Your courage made that possible." Mira smiled, realizing the truth in his words. Her journey had started with a capture, a test of survival, and a challenge she never expected. Along the way, she had discovered the depth of human courage and intelligence, the loyalty of her friends, and the power of understanding across worlds. The experience had strengthened her, prepared her for future challenges, and given her a sense of purpose beyond her own life. Months passed, and the colony flourished. Humans adapted new technologies, improved their agriculture, and expanded their exploration missions. The people of Nova Prime were proud, united, and confident. Mira's story of survival and courage became a lesson for all, a testament to the human spirit. Kieran and Myra stood on a cliff overlooking the colony one evening, the twin suns setting in brilliant shades of gold and red. "We've come a long way," Kieran said quietly. "Not just to save you, but to show everyone what humans can do." Mira nodded, her eyes reflecting the fading light. "We've proven that courage, intelligence, and heart are stronger than fear. We've shown that humans can face any challenge and rise above it." In the distance, a faint shimmer in the sky marked the presence of Zareth's ships. Mira knew that Queen Allura watched over them, maintaining a cautious but respectful connection. The two worlds had begun a fragile friendship. Built on recognition of courage and understanding, Myra felt hope for the future. Humans had survived, thrived, and earned respect across the galaxy. The lessons of courage, intelligence, and loyalty would guide them as they explored new worlds, faced new challenges, and met new civilizations. She understood that strength was not only measured by weapons or power, but by the ability to think, act wisely, and remain true to one's heart. Kieran placed a hand on Mira's shoulder. "Your courage started all of this," he said. "You led us, inspired us, and proved that humans can be stronger than anyone thought." Mira looked at him, a smile forming on her face. "We did it together. Courage, loyalty, and heart, that's what made us strong. That's what will keep us strong in the future." As the suns dipped below the horizon, the colony glowed with life and energy. Humans walked with confidence, knowing that their courage had earned them not only survival, but recognition across the stars. Mira felt proud, grateful, and determined to continue guiding her people toward a future where intelligence, courage, and heart would always lead the way. Queen Allura, back on Zarethia, watched the distant lights of Nova Prime. She remembered Mira's courage, her intelligence, and her loyalty. The experience had changed her, reshaping her understanding of strength and leadership. She began to foster connections between her people and humans, believing that courage and understanding could unite even the most different civilizations. The galaxy had witnessed a story of courage, loyalty, and heart. Humans had risen above impossible odds, earned respect, and begun to build bridges across worlds. Myra's journey, guided by determination and intelligence, had become a symbol of hope, strength, and the power of the human spirit. Standing on the cliff with Kieran, Mira whispered to herself, "We are human. We are brave. We are clever, and we will rise above every challenge." The words were not just a promise, they were a declaration. Humans would continue to explore, to learn, and to prove that courage and intelligence could shape the future of the galaxy. The twin suns disappeared behind the horizon, but their light remained in the hearts of those who had witnessed courage, determination, and heart. Mira knew that this was only the beginning. The human spirit had triumphed, and the galaxy had seen what humans could achieve when they dared to be brave, clever, and united. The stars above shone brighter than ever, a reflection of the courage and intelligence that humans carried within them. Mira and Kieran stood together, looking toward the future, ready for whatever challenges awaited, knowing that their courage and heart would always guide them. Nova Prime was safe. The humans were strong, and the bond between worlds had begun. Myra's journey had ended, but the story of courage, determination, and hope would continue, inspiring generations to come. Humans had returned home, victorious, respected, and unbroken. Their courage had been proven, their intelligence recognized, and their heart honored across the galaxy.